Thank you so much for inviting me to Houston. I said a little while ago when I was campaigning for vice president, I came here a number of times. And you all very, very generously supported my campaign, and my heartfelt thanks to you. It is probably the greatest honor of my life is to be your president. So I hope you enjoy the program, and we'll get started.
You can stand at the front if you like.
I can stand in front. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to stand right here. Is that okay with you guys? Okay. Am I blocking anybody? I could stand in front.
You can stand wherever you want.
I bet I don't want to block you. So if you can't see, just tell me and I'll move, okay?
Just kick you out the door.
Just kick me out the door. There you go. So it is my belief that growing roses can and should be easy and fun to do, and it doesn't have to revolve around the spray program. And the key is the right rose for the right location. That's the key to growing roses successfully where you live. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this program. It's called American Garden Rose Selections, bringing you great roses that you can grow where you live. So this program is the new national testing program for new varieties and varieties that have been introduced and are registered since January 1st, 2005. And it was formed in the wake of the demise of the All-America Rose Selections to provide a nationwide testing service comparable to the AARS, but with improvements to fit the needs and desires of the 21st century rose growers. So the key words in rose culture today are regionality and disease resistance. And the mission statement of AGRS is to recognize and recommend the best garden-worthy rose varieties for various regions of the United States through testing, and to provide objective and reliable information to the general public. This is our board of trustees. Clayton Beatty is our treasurer, and he is the owner of Beatty Fertilizer Company. Steve Hutton is a board member and CEO and president of Star Roses and Plants. Wayne Myers is AGR chairman of Gardens and Judges. Myself, I'm the chairman of the testing program. Mike Shoup is chairman of Breeders and Nurseries, and he's the owner of the Antique Rose Emporium. Pam Smith is our webmaster, and she is Parks Landscape Manager for the City of Farmers Branch, Texas. And Jean Waring, who is our secretary, and also chairman of the ARS Old Garden Rose Committee. This is our advisory board. Dr. David Byrne, Texas A&M, Jay Hires, Edisto Memorial Gardens, Claire Martin, he's the curator emeritus of the Huntington Botanical Gardens Rose Garden and Perennials. Dr. Alan Owings, Louisiana State University. Dr. Malcolm Manners, Florida Southern College. William J. Radler, who is the hybridizer of the Knockout family of roses. Jeffrey Ware, who was the immediate past president, past executive director, and of the American Rose Society. He's currently the director of philanthropy for the Nature Conservancy, and Paul Zimmerman of Zimmerman Roses. So I think some of you here have been to the Biltmore Rose Trials, so you'll remember Paul Zimmerman. He is in charge of that program. So our scoring system is heavily weighted towards disease resistance, and it's modeled on the very successful ADR system that's been used in Germany for over 25 years, and it's been adapted to the wide range of American climates and growing conditions. And these are our trial gardens. So we have 12 gardens located across the United States. And these are the awards that are given. There's a Regional Choice Award, there's a Fragrance Award, and in the last year, we have had a Regional Choice Heirloom Hybrid Award, and we'll show you an example of that. This is a picture of the test garden in Portland, Oregon. 30% of the score is for disease resistance. So what else are we looking for? We're looking for vigor, foliage proportion and attractiveness, the plant habit, the flowering effect and bloom abundance, rebloom habit, the form of the bloom, the aging quality of the blooms, does the bloom have fragrance, and is the bloom hardy, both cold hardiness and heat tolerance. The hallmarks of this program are 30% of the total score for disease resistance, and no membership fee, so independence, no membership fee, no royalty fee. Anyone can enter for only $100 for the first entry, $200 the second, $300 the third, $400 the fourth. So what this means is that this trial is not only for the large nurseries, it's for the small independent hybridizer, and we are hoping that small independent hybridizers will be encouraged to submit their roses to the trial. So now I have heard, well, Pat, I'm going to put my rose into this trial and I'm going to win, and then what? I guarantee you, you win in a trial like this, the major nurseries will be knocking on your door asking you if they can market your rose. So, that's really how it works. You want to get your rose out there. So if you've got a rose and you can, $100, we need 4 plants for 6 different regions, 12 gardens. So if that's something that you think you can do, we would love to have you participate in the trials. Again, regionality. AGRS winners must achieve 80% scores in at least 50% of the regions entered. And the winning varieties are indexed to the specific regions, and winners are posted on the AGRS website. So as of 2016, that was our first round of winners. And this is the cover of the American Rose Society's magazine. And this is a photo of Delish, which was the 2016 AGRS fragrance winner. Also in 2016 was a regional choice winner in the Northwest, North Central, Southwest, and Southeast. It's Look-alike Floxy Baby. It's a Polyantha Pink Blend by Will Radler, and it was introduced by Star Roses. This is Thomas Affleck. This was hybridized by Mike Shoup of the Antique Rose Emporium. And I have another picture of it growing in my garden a little bit later on. This was the Northwest, South, Northeast, and South Central. It's a gorgeous rose. And Mike is actually in Brenham, Texas. So, good rose for you guys.
Mike was our speaker last month.
There you go. There you go. He's a great guy. He really is. And the 2016 Fragrance Award winner was Delish. Now, Delish didn't quite make the score for a regional choice winner, but this is a rose that has done incredibly well in the international rose trials. I am growing it in my home, and so someone said to me before, yes, but do you get black spot like Houston? Probably not, because you just have a longer growing season, but yes, we get some really bad black spot, and it does extremely well.
Pat,
Yes,
very tall rose, very fragrant.
yes, yes, very, very
It
great.
actually won the fragrance award at our rose show last month.
It did. That's fabulous. You know, it won in Jacksonville, Florida as well last month. So 2017 trials, and this is Munstead Wood, introduced by David Austin. And it won the Fragrance Award. It's a lovely rose. So to win a Fragrance Award in AGRS, it needs to do reasonably well. I mean, if it's a real dog, and it's got black spot from the outset, even if it smells really good, it's not going to get the Fragrance Award. So it's a reasonably good resistance, just not to the level to get the award. Lady of Shalott won the Fragrance Award and the Regional Choice Award in the Northeast, the Southeast, the Northwest, and the Southwest. Again, it's a shrub, pink and yellow blend, introduced by David Austin. So this is the Heirloom Hybrid Award. This was the first one that we gave. And this is Faith Whittlesey. It's a tea rose, and it was bred by an Indian hybridizer, Varu Viragahavan. Varu is working on roses that will be ever blooming, roses that don't need periods of dormancy in order to rebloom, so a perfect rose for southern climates. If I was living here, I would be growing this rose. Introduced by Roses Unlimited. Ice Cap. That to me is just a gorgeous, gorgeous rose. And it won in the Northeast, the North Central, the South Central, the Northwest, and the Southwest. It's a shrub, and it was actually a joint effort in hybridizing by Will Radler and Mayon, introduced by Star Roses. Tahitian Treasure, another Radler rose, shrub, medium red.
Issue, arrows in there, you know, which end.
Go for it. Soar, lost here.
Sour heats Russell County.
Thank you so much for inviting me to Houston. I said a little while ago, when I was campaigning for vice president, I came here a number of times. And you all very, very generously supported my campaign, and my heartfelt thanks to you. It is probably the greatest honor of my life is to be your president. So I hope you enjoy the program, and we'll get started. I can stand in front. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to stand right here. Is that okay with you guys? Okay. Am I blocking anybody? I could stand in front.
You can stand wherever you want.
I bet I don't want to block you. So if you can't see, just tell me and I'll move, okay?
Just kick you out the door.
And yes, kick me out the door. There you go. So it is my belief that growing roses can and should be easy and fun to do, and it doesn't have to revolve around the spray program. And the key is the right rose for the right location. That's the key to growing roses successfully where you live. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this program. It's called American Garden Rose Selections, bringing you great roses that you can grow where you live. So this program is the new national testing program for new varieties and varieties that have been introduced and are registered since January 1st, 2005. And it was formed in the wake of the demise of the All-America Rose Selections to provide a nationwide testing service comparable to the AARS, but with improvements to fit the needs and desires of the 21st century rose growers. So the key words in rose culture today are regionality and disease resistance. And the mission statement of AGRS is to recognize and recommend the best garden-worthy rose varieties for various regions of the United States through testing, and to provide objective and reliable information to the general public. This is our Board of Trustees. Clayton Beatty is our treasurer, and he is the owner of Beatty Fertilizer Company. Steve Hutton is a board member and CEO and president of Star Roses and Plants. Wayne Myers is AGR chairman of Gardens and Judges. Myself, I'm the chairman of the testing program. Mike Shoup is chairman of Breeders and Nurseries, and he's the owner of the Antique Rose Emporium. Pam Smith is our webmaster, and she is Parks Landscape Manager for the City of Farmers Branch, Texas. And Jean Waring, who is our secretary, and also chairman of the ARS Old Garden Rose Committee. This is our advisory board. Dr. David Byrne, Texas A&M, Jay Hires, Edisto Memorial Gardens, Claire Martin, he's the curator emeritus of the Huntington Botanical Gardens Rose Garden and Perennials. Dr. Alan Owings, Louisiana State University. Dr. Malcolm Manners, Florida Southern College. William J. Radler, who is the hybridizer of the Knockout family of roses. Jeffrey Ware, who was the immediate past president, past executive director, and of the American Rose Society. He's currently the director of philanthropy for the Nature Conservancy, and Paul Zimmerman of Zimmerman Roses. So I think some of you here have been to the Biltmore Rose Trials, so you'll remember Paul Zimmerman. He is in charge of that program. So our scoring system is heavily weighted towards disease resistance, and it's modeled on the very successful ADR system that's been used in Germany for over 25 years, and it's been adapted to the wide range of American climates and growing conditions. And these are our trial gardens. So we have 12 gardens located across the United States. And these are the awards that are given. There's a Regional Choice Award, there's a Fragrance Award, and in the last year, we have had a Regional Choice Heirloom Hybrid Award, and we'll show you an example of that. This is a picture of the test garden in Portland, Oregon. 30% of the score is for disease resistance. So what else are we looking for? We're looking for vigor, foliage proportion and attractiveness, the plant habit, the flowering effect and bloom abundance, rebloom habit, the form of the bloom, the aging quality of the blooms, does the bloom have fragrance, and is the bloom hardy, both cold hardiness and heat tolerance. The hallmarks of this program are 30% of the total score for disease resistance, and no membership fee. So independence, no membership fee, no royalty fee. Anyone can enter for only $100 for the first entry, $200 the second, $300 the third, $400 the fourth. So what this means is that this trial is not only for the large nurseries, it's for the small independent hybridizer, and we are hoping that small independent hybridizers will be encouraged to submit their roses to the trial. So now I have heard, well, Pat, I'm going to put my rose into this trial and I'm going to win, and then what? I guarantee you, you win in a trial like this, the major nurseries will be knocking on your door asking you if they can market your rose. So, that's really how it works. You want to get your rose out there. So if you've got a rose and you can, $100, we need 4 plants for 6 different regions, 12 gardens.
So if that's something that you think you can do, we would love to have you participate in the trials. Again, regionality. AGRS winners must achieve 80% scores in at least 50% of the regions entered. And the winning varieties are indexed to the specific regions, and winners are posted on the AGRS website. So as of 2016, that was our first round of winners. And this is the cover of the American Rose magazine, American Rose Society's magazine. And this is a photo of the Lish, which was the 2016 AGRS fragrance winner. Also in 2016 was a regional choice winner in the Northwest, North Central, Southwest, and Southeast. It's Look-alike Floxy Baby. It's a Polyantha Pink Blend by Will Radler, and it was introduced by Star Roses. This is Thomas Affleck. This was hybridized by Mike Shoup of the Antique Rose Emporium. And I have another picture of it growing in my garden a little bit later on. This was the Northwest, South, Northeast, and South Central. It's a gorgeous rose, and Mike is actually in Brenham, Texas. So, good rose for you guys.
Mike was our speaker last month.
There you go. There you go. He's a great guy. He really is. And the 2016 Fragrance Award winner was Delish. Now, Delish didn't quite make the score for a regional choice winner, but this is a rose that has done incredibly well in the International Rose Trials. I am growing it in my home, and so someone said to me before, yes, but do you get black spot like Houston? Probably not, because you just have a longer growing season, but yes, we get some really bad black spot, and it does extremely well.
Pat,
Yes,
very tall rose, very fragrant.
yes, yes, very, very
It
great.
actually won the fragrance award at our rose show last month.
It did. That's fabulous. You know, it won in Jacksonville, Florida as well last month. So 2017 trials, and this is Munstead Wood, introduced by David Austin. And it won the Fragrance Award. It's a lovely rose. So to win a Fragrance Award in AGRS, it needs to do reasonably well. I mean, if it's a real dog, and it's got black spot from the outset, even if it smells really good, it's not going to get the Fragrance Award. So it's a reasonably good resistance, just not to the level to get the award. Lady of Shalott won the Fragrance Award and the Regional Choice Award in the Northeast, the Southeast, the Northwest, and the Southwest. Again, it's a shrub, pink and yellow blend, introduced by David Austin. So this is the Heirloom Hybrid Award. This was the first one that we gave. And this is Faith Whittlesey. It's a tea rose, and it was bred by an Indian hybridizer, Varu Viragahavan. Varu is working on roses that will be ever-blooming, roses that don't need periods of dormancy in order to rebloom, so a perfect rose for southern climates. If I was living here, I would be growing this rose. Introduced by Roses Unlimited. Ice Cap. That to me is just a gorgeous, gorgeous rose. And it won in the Northeast, the North Central, the South Central, the Northwest, and the Southwest. It's a shrub, and it was actually a joint effort in hybridizing by Will Radler and Mayon, introduced by Star Roses. Tahitian Treasure, another Radler rose, shrub, medium red, again introduced by Star Roses, for the Northeast, Southeast, and South Central region. And Peachy Knockout. Peachy Knockout won in all 6 regions. Shrub, pink blend, actually Radler again, introduced by Star Roses. Star Roses recently announced, are you guys familiar with Rose Chat podcast? Chris Van Cleve and Teresa Byington. It's an excellent podcast. They do a lot of interviews for a lot of people, and they just recently interviewed Jacques Farrar. And he spoke about Star having a regional knockout series. So we have heard that, knockout is supposed to be something that can be grown all over the country. And Steve Hutton said to me a while back, he said, Pat, there are thousands of roses out there. He said, but you, personally, you can only maybe grow about 100 of them successfully where you live. Years ago, people weren't testing for regionality. That was one of the problems with the AARS.
The AARS tested across the country, and one rose was recommended for every region of this country. And we all know that roses don't grow the same in every area of the country. But that's kind of a pretty new concept. And actually, when AARS went out of business, they were first starting to do that. And their last entry, their last winner, was Francis Mayon. And they actually were going towards regionality, but the organization didn't stay together. So these are the regions, and they're very loosely drawn. This is a startup program, so we are now 3 years old. 3 years old? No, we're 5 years old. 5 years old. So as we go along, we make changes, we make differences, and these regions will be further defined as we go along. But for right now, these are the regions. And you can see that in the South Central region, recommended is Cape Whittlesey, Peachy Knockout, Thomas Affleck, Tahitian Treasure, and Ice Cap. These are roses that you can buy and plant and grow with reasonably good degree of success. So it's not really like, like a hit or miss. You go in and you see this rose and you say, wow, isn't that pretty? And then you take it home and plant it and it gets black spots. This one you have reasonably good success. Yes?
That's summer roses in the rose hat. I've currently got 5 roses from Bailey's nurseries.
Yes.
And Bailey roses is doing the same, so everybody's doing it.
Yes, exactly.
And this is actually unique to the US. In Europe, they've been doing this for years. And it's kind of like we got all excited about earth time. Europe was doing earth time 20 years ago. And basically, because of the laws, they couldn't spray in a lot of the countries. So we kind of playing catch up.
So this is very true. Early on, there's a program called the Great Rosarians of the World, which is actually not going to be in existence anymore. So the Huntington Botanical Garden decided they didn't want to do it anymore. So Manhattan Rose Society did it with the Huntington, and we're thinking that maybe we'll develop another lectureship and a different award. But for all intents and purposes, the Great Rosarian of the World, when we did our first award in New York, which was, I believe, in 2007, the honoree was William Cordes. And he came and he spoke, and he said that when he became president of the company, he knew that Germany was about to ban all the chemicals and not let them use chemicals to grow their roses in their testing fields. And so he voluntarily stopped spraying his testing fields. And it was a family-run business, and they said, are you out of your mind? Are you trying to put us out of business? And he insisted that it was the way to go. And he showed photographs of devastated testing fields. Testing fields where sticks were growing, but every now and then you'd see one plant, and it would be gorgeous out of this field of sticks. Turns out that Cordes knew what the heck he was talking about. So 25 years ago, Cordes started their testing program, and they really, truly have the science of disease-resistant roses, just down pat. Their roses are just phenomenal, and that's why. So you're absolutely right. And as we go along, there'll be even more chemicals banned. They're already banned in Canada. Yes?
But Cordes also suffers from the dilemmas. We need more roses because the climates in Germany are such. When you bring them in the US, those type of roses may not be good in southern Texas. So, you've got that regional variation.
So, in addition, Star Roses was recently bought by Ball Corporation, which is, yes, Baxter, yes.
Oh, I just got a sort of, I've noticed that Lady of Shalott in the Northwest region has 2 P's, and in the Southwest region
Could be a different
it has
rose.
2 T's, but over here in the Northeast, it's got 2 L's and only 1 T, so.
Wait a second. 2 L's. I'm going to have to speak to the editor of this program and make sure that she does not get her bonus next year, right?
That's it.
Thank you, Baxter. I'll fix it. Yes.
The lady is not in the South Central. Does that mean that doesn't do well here?
Lady Shalott was in all 6 regions, so she should have been in the South. Boy, you guys are really getting me here. You're absolutely right. She should have been down there. But didn't she win in all 6 regions? Let's go back and see.
You said it, she wasn't all.
No, that was Peachy Knockout, so maybe she didn't win. There she is. No, she did not win in South Central.
And she's got 2 L's and 2 T's in that one.
It's important which one you're looking at.
No, she's got one element. Baxter, do you have a handbook for selecting roses? Check it.
Leave them in the dust.
It's a good thing you can catch the drift of what I'm trying to say without my spelling, right?
That's right.
Okay, so, we have had entries from the Antique Rose Emporium, David Austin Roses, Cortez and New Flora, Ping Lim, Coulson, Roses Unlimited, Star Roses, and Weeks Roses. So what I was saying before is that Star Roses, as of March 31st, actually bought the rights to Cortez roses. So Chris and Gary Pellet, who did a great job, was New Flora for many years, retired, and sold their business, and they felt that the best fit was Star Roses in the Ball Corporation. So a lot of consolidation, right, within the industry. But it's a good thing for us because we will see more Cortez roses available. And knowing Star as I do, I'm pretty sure that they will be marketing the Cortez roses just like they're marketing the other roses, so that they're regional, and you have a pretty good chance of growing a good rose. So there you go, that's my philosophy. Growing roses can and should be easy and fun, and choosing the right rose for the right location, that's the key. So, Gay spoke about it before, and Margie did as well. This is the book that I co-edited with Peter Kukelski, who I believe was here to speak with you a couple of years ago, Jay? And he's since written another book, Roses Without Chemicals, which is excellent. If you don't have that one, it's wonderful. So this is kind of a handbook for if you want to try growing roses without chemicals. There are a lot of really great articles in here written by people who are a lot smarter on the subject than I am. There's some great photography that Peter helped put together, so you can actually see the roses. There is a full color section of it. And these are some of the people that are working on disease-resistant roses. So Radler, Tom Caruth. Tom Caruth was with Weeks Roses. He's currently curator of the Rose and Perennial Gardens of the Huntington. Keith Zary, Ping Lim, David Slezak, who I know you know, Cortez, and Mayon. And the book won the World Federation of Rose Society's Literary Award in 2012, so we were very proud of that accomplishment. So, my no-spray garden. So I started growing roses, not here in this house. I started growing roses at a home that was very heavily treed. And I joined the local society, it was a local rose society, because one Sunday my husband and I had nothing to do, and so we saw advertised in the paper, the Long Island Rose Society was having their rose show, and we went, and I was so amazed at all of these beautiful roses, and I thought, wow, you know, maybe I can do this too. So I went to the meeting the next week and joined the society. And a couple months later, I joined the American Rose Society. And a couple months later, I was program chairman for the Long Island Rose Society. And about a year later, I was president. And so on and on and on. Here I am today. I remember going to my first little show at the American Rose Society. They had shows during the growing season at each meeting. And then the horticultural judges that were part of the society judged the roses, and we gave out ribbons. And so the first time I had, and I don't remember what it was, I just remember it was red. That's terrible from the American Rose Society president, isn't it? But in any event, I remember I had put it into the refrigerator because somebody told me to refrigerate it, and of course it turned blue. And I took it to the show and I put it in, and they were very, very kind, and they gave me an honorable mention. And I went home with this ribbon. I was so excited. I walked in the house and I said to my husband, "Oh my God, I got a ribbon." And he said, "It's only an honorable mention, Pat." I said, "You don't understand, it's a ribbon." And I was hooked. And that was it. So I grew roses in my heavily wooded property, and I soon learned that you can't grow roses in the shade. That's number one. Number two, you had the best bloom in the springtime before the canopy of the trees filled in. And number three, the roses that we were all growing and exhibiting could not be grown without spraying. In those days, we had a chemist, was our ways and means person at Long Island. And he would buy the chemicals in bulk, separate them into small containers, and then sell them at a table, you know,
at the meeting, and we made a bundle of money on that until the law said you can't do that, and so we had to stop. But in any event, that was the culture that I was brought into. You know, that's what I knew. I knew that you had to spray the roses, and I hated spraying my roses. I just hated it. It was not too bad when it wasn't too hot, but then when it got hot, then you had to put on your goggles and your hat and your long sleeves and your rubber gloves and the socks and the shoes, and it was 95 degrees with 100% humidity, and I'm thinking to myself, this is just not fun. Wouldn't it be wonderful if there was a rose that you didn't have to do this with? Wouldn't it be great if we could grow roses without spraying these chemicals? And, you know, in 2000, along came Knockout. And that was the answer to my prayers, personally. So, is Knockout my favorite rose? No, it's not my favorite rose. And you may like the rose or you may not like the rose, but you cannot deny the importance of this rose. This was a watershed event not seen since La France, which was the first hybrid tea, or since peace. So this was an event of huge proportions. And so why is this rose important? It doesn't grow well in every area of the country, right? And as we go along, it seems to develop black spot in other areas, which if Dr. David Slezak was here, he could tell you about the different strains of black spot and why that happens. But the importance of this rose is that it began a whole trend of hybridizers being able to breed roses that are resistant to black spot. And today it's used in breeding programs worldwide. So whether you like the rose or not, it's probably one of the most important roses that we will ever see. Well, I can't say enough good things about Will Rowley. He's really a wonderful person. So in any event, the way that book got started and the way I started growing roses without chemicals was in my previous home. I had a Great Dane, and his name was Winston, and he was a beautiful dog. And he was about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old, I think. And one Sunday morning, I was having breakfast outside with my husband, and the dog was running around, and he was fine, and he was happy. And I put him in the house later on, and later on that day, I sprayed my roses with daffodil. Unfortunately, it wasn't even the time where, you know, I mixed a cocktail. I mixed daffodil, 7, and a sticker spreader. Because somebody in Pennsylvania told me, Pat, if it flies, it dies, so you need to kill it. So I sprayed with daffodil. I waited until the spray material dried. The dog was in the house. When it was all dry, I let him out. A couple of hours later, this dog started to have really severe gastrointestinal symptoms. He was vomiting, and he was just a mess, right? I took him to the vet, and within 1 hour, that dog was dead. So now, can I say with 100% certainty that that dog ate the leaves that were treated with daffodil? No, I can't. But I do know that dogs eat everything, right? They eat leaves and grass and trees and other unmentionable things. So I can't prove it, but in my heart of hearts, I couldn't understand what would kill a dog that quickly. How could he go from being perfectly healthy to dead in the afternoon? And I thought to myself, you know, even though I don't know for sure, I'm not going to spray my roses anymore. I'm not going to do it. To me, Queen of Show is not worth the life of that dog, which was like my child. And so that was the last time I ever sprayed my roses. And it was a hard decision to make because going cold turkey from having a garden that needed to be sprayed in order for it to be, well, in full shade, in order to be, you know, looking decent, to not spraying at all, the garden was a shambles. And there were so many times over the course of the 3 years that it took for this garden to come back, it took 3 years, that I thought, well, maybe I should spray, maybe just once, I should just spray my garden. And I didn't do it, and gradually, the bushes that were not going to make it died, and I replaced them. And the ones that did make it looked halfway decent and okay. And after 3 years, it was an okay-looking garden. So I sold that house in 2010, and I bought this one. And the first thing I did was take down every tree I could. And I have total, complete full sun, and to this day I am still amazed at what you can do with full sun and roses. So this was my garden the first year that I planted it in 2011.
That is a question.
Yes.
I'm just curious, what kind of pest, disease, fungus do you experience in your area?
Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, so he's asking what kind of pest, disease, fungus do we have in New York? So the most prevalent one is black spot. There's powdery mildew. There can be downy mildew. I don't have downy mildew, thank you God, I don't have downy mildew. There's rose rosette disease, but that doesn't really come from anything that you can really prevent at the moment. And I don't have a lot of that. I've had it, but not terribly. You can get practically anything that you can think of, with the exception of rust, happens in the Northeast.
How about thrips and?
We have
Aphids.
thrips, we have aphids, we have midge. So now I guess your next question would be, how many do I have in this garden?
Yeah.
Do I have aphids? So right now, a little bit of aphids, but aphids can be taken care of with a sharp blast of water. You knock them off the bush and they fall to the ground, and they don't get back up and come on, they die. Will you get more? Sure. But you need to be vigilant, and you need to keep watching the garden. Do I get Japanese beetles? Not as many as a lot of people that I know.
I don't have that problem.
You don't have Japanese beetles. Do I get a lot of thrips? Not a lot of thrips. I have almost no spider mites.
Do you have ladybird beetles?
Yes. So, when you don't spray chemicals in your garden, you develop an environment where it kind of is a checks and balances environment. So a lot of birds, a lot of bees, a lot of beneficial insects. If I would start spraying with a pesticide to get rid of Japanese beetles, I wouldn't only be killing the Japanese beetles, I'd be killing the beneficial insects as well. So if I get Japanese beetles, I walk around with a can of soapy water and I knock them in. So do I have millions of Japanese beetles? I don't. I don't have severe problems of any kind. I'm not going to tell you I don't have any problems, but I don't have any severe infestations. So this was in 2013, and this was 14. And this was also 14. We used to have chickens that came. They were my neighbor's chickens, and they were kind of fun, except they kicked the mulch out of the garden and made a mess, but they were very sweet. Except the fox ate them, so we don't have the chickens anymore. So I'm going to show you some other roses growing in my garden.
Wait, let me ask about
Yes.
your climbers. To get the multicolors like that with the climbers, do you plant them right together and then intertwine them? There, yes.
That you're looking right in here.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so this rose right here is the garland. And I would tell you that if you're going to plant the garden, you need a lot of room. So I question the wisdom of planting the garland, except that I love the rose so much. It's a once bloomer, but it will eat your house.
Oh.
Definitely. So now this rose in here, this was, and you'll see it later on too, this was double knockout, except the garland ate double knockout, so that's not there anymore. And I think back in here I have, I don't know if Peggy Martin is there now or not. This is Climbing Pinky. And so this here is actually, so the roses are ramblers more than climbers in here, but it's a hill. So it goes up and slants back this way. So, if you plant on the hill, then they all kind of grow down and weed down. But there's no structure holding them up. Right there. Sure. So this is not a great picture of roses, but it's a great picture of foliage. And this is August, which is prime black spot season in New York. And this one is the Black Forest Rose, and this one is Summer Waltz. So Kathy Zuzak and Cortez. A little bit of disease here, but nothing terrible. This is Apricot Drift is here. This is Pomponella Fairy Tale, Cortez. Lion's Fairy Tale, also Cortez. This is a Radler Rose. This is, so for those of you who think the only thing he ever did was knockout, and they all look the same, this kind of looks like an Austin or old garden rose, doesn't it? And it's fragrant. It's a beautiful rose, Orchid Romance. Grows quite tall.
Rose good down here too.
Oh, great. And Pink Knockout.
Quietness is the Griffith Buck Rose. It's a very beautiful rose. So Cordes developed a whole series of roses that he called fairy tale roses, and this one is actually my favorite out of all of them. Brothers Grimm, Floral Fairy Tale, Cinderella Fairy Tale, and here you can see again, this is Lion's Rose and Pompanella Fairy Tale.
And how long is your growing season?
Our growing season, they're probably going to start blooming beginning of June, and second flush in July, like August, July. Not as much. So the main flush is June. Another nice one in the fall, and we can have roses until the first frost. And you know, I've had roses at Christmas time. Not a whole garden full of them, but enough to cut for a bouquet to bring in. So it can go on until the frost. Whereas upstate New York, they're still having snow and all kinds of horrible weather. This is one of my favorite roses. This is a Mayan. This is the McCartney rose. Very fragrant. You can see nice exhibition form. And there's the bush in the garden in August. So again, you know, not a lot of bloom because it gets hot and we get less bloom, but beautiful, beautiful disease resistance. This is an older Cordes. This is Grand Amore. Very nice rose also, nice hybrid tea, nice exhibition form.
Great photography, by the way.
Yeah, not mine. This is South Africa. This is Grandiflora by Cordes. And the very beautiful Julia Child. And there's the double knockout, the garland date. This beautiful rose was hybridized by David Slezak, Above and Beyond. It is really a gorgeous rose. I don't know, does it do well down here again? Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. It's just beautiful. He gave me a cutting when he came to speak in Manhattan Rose Society many years ago, when I was in my other house, and I knew I was going to move. So I planted it in a 6-inch pot, and it just grew, you know, like long arms everywhere. And I moved into my new home, and I put it under the soffit of the house, and we had terrible, terrible winter that year. And it was covered with ice for most of the winter, and I thought this rose is never going to live. And I planted it, and it's just beautiful. There it is in my garden. So, really gorgeous rose. Double pink knockout. Peggy Martin. Does anybody grow Peggy Martin?
Yes.
That'll eat your house too, Peggy. Peggy suffers like crazy as well, doesn't it? So this one is Garden Delight, Cordes, and Black Forest, and South Africa. And this is June of last year. So you can see that I started growing this garden in 2011, and we're up to, you know, this year, of course I don't have pictures this year because it hasn't bloomed yet, but you can see that it's just gotten better and better, even though I'm not spraying any chemicals. So this is Thomas Affleck, right here. And this was just pure dumb luck. For some reason I planted a peony and it turned out to be the exact same color as Thomas Affleck. So it's a really beautiful combination. Thomas Affleck does really well as a cut flower as well. And Gay Hammond. Beautiful Gay Hammond. With Charles Assenborn. Yes?
Where can you get Charles Assenborn? I've looked everywhere.
It was given to me by Carol Green, who is in Florida. And I'm not really sure. She probably made it from a cutting. I'm not sure where you can get it. I guess it's not fair. I shouldn't show that, huh? It's beautiful, isn't it? But look at that bouquet of Gay Hammond. So in 2015, I decided I would put in a rose garden on the lower portion of my property. And so this garden here, I had roses planted in another part, so they didn't start off as really tiny roses to begin with. They were decent-sized bushes that I moved into this area. And this is the second year of the garden. So this one here is a Cordes climber called Bajazzo. Bajazzo won in the Biltmore International Rose Trials. It's a gorgeous rose, beautiful climber. It did that in 2 years, so. This is rainbow knockout here, and I'm not gonna try to tell you what the others are, so. But again, you can see not a lot of disease, right? This is a bouquet of roses in August and in October. So you can grow roses without using chemicals if you follow a few simple rules. So again, plant roses known to do well where you live. You can take a look at the AGRS website for recommendations for your region. And of course, your local rose society, you know, the people here in Houston will know what roses grow well for you. And decide on your level of tolerance. So if you're an exhibitor, this is not going to work for you. This is not the kind of program where you can grow a rose and it will be an absolute perfect specimen to place on the table and win in the collections class, and the specimen class. You know, it's just not going to win for you. But if you can accept some level of imperfection, then you can try this. And you need to also remember when you do this that disease resistance does not mean disease free. Okay, so there'll be some level of disease in your garden. But it shouldn't be enough to defoliate the garden. You should still be able to have beautiful blooms. Plant in a sunny location, 6 hours minimum away from tree roots. Remembering that easy care doesn't mean no care. I've had people say to me, well, Pat, you know, you were always promoting easy care roses, no care roses. I said, I never said no care roses. Well, if they're so easy, then why do you need the American Rose Society? Because growing roses doesn't only mean what are you going to spray on your roses. You still need to know how to plant your roses, how to feed your roses, what to feed your roses, when to feed your roses, how to water your roses. So a lot of people think watering is no big deal. What do you need to know about watering? But not enough water or too much water will kill your rose. So you need to know. You need to know all of these things. And that's called good rose culture, and that's where the American Rose Society comes in. So again, easy care does not mean no care. Roses still need, as our consulting rosarian said tonight, they need food, they need water, and they need sunlight, just like we do. And again, your local Rose Society is your best source for these practices. And walk through your garden as often as possible. Keep an eye out, because if you can find a problem early, you can take care of it a lot easier than when it becomes totally rampant in the garden. So that's part of integrated pest management, right? You take a look at your garden. One of my favorite things this time of the year is to get up in the morning, take my pruners and my coffee, and something to put the whatever I cut off in as I walk along so I don't have to go back and pick it up later, and walk through the garden. Every morning that I can, walk through the garden. It gives you a sense of peace, it gives you a sense of joy, and it really helps your garden. So now you asked me here, and I would not be able to come here and not tell you about the American Rose Society, right? So, this is what I ran on. This was my campaign platform, that there would be a place for everyone in the American Rose Society. No matter what your level of interest was, there was a place for you. Whether you wanted to exhibit, you wanted to arrange, photography, or you just wanted to grow roses in your garden, modern roses or heritage roses, either one. And if we do this to the American Rose Society, if we make a place for everyone, we share our love of roses, we help others grow their love of roses, and subsequently grow the American Rose Society, and we grow your local Rose Society as well. So in this administration, we have been focusing on membership growth, on supporting exhibition, on supporting our local societies, adding webinars, and adding other online resources, research into rose rosette disease, hybridization of disease-resistant roses, and growing our partnership with the rose industry and the botanical gardens. So this is a pretty tall order, right? How do we finance all of these goals? We have an annual fund, and we have a plant giving program. Our annual fund is for today. And I know that as a member of the American Rose Society, you get a letter 4 times a year asking you to contribute. So this money is used for our operational budget. That's what the annual fund is for.
But when you think about our operational budget, don't only think about you're asking me to pay the electricity and the telephone and the water bill. This is the money that is used to process your member services. This is the money that's used to edit and print the magazine and the handbook and your Consulting Rosarian program and your judges programs. That's what this money is used for. So we're an educational organization, right? And this money goes towards helping us promote education to our members and to the public. Our planned giving program is for tomorrow. I think you probably know that Gay Hammond, where did she go? Gay Hammond, there she is. Gay Hammond is chairman of the development committee. And the way I think about this program is that it gives you an opportunity to create a legacy, to help promote something that you love. And so that's what a planned gift is all about, right? A planned gift is you give it and it becomes realized when you're no longer with us. We have 4 endowment trusts. We have a research endowment trust, educational endowment trust. They're pretty self-explanatory. We have a maintenance endowment trust. This is the trust for the gardens. And we have an American Rose Society endowment trust. The American Rose Society endowment trust is the trust that will eventually provide the money for our operational budget. There hasn't been an increase in the American Rose Society dues in 10 years, and the annual fund helps to make this possible. So how many things do you know of that have not increased in price in 10 years?
Not many.
And we're very proud of that. We're very proud that we've been able to do that. So I want to talk to you a little bit about membership trends. Okay, so this is going back 11 years, and you can see that in 2006, we lost about 8.5% of our members. In 2007, we instituted a dues increase. The dues went from $36 to $49. It was unfortunately followed by the worst recession since the Great Depression. Collectively, we lost 23% of our members in those 2 years. 2009, we lost about 8%. In 2010, we came up with the trial membership, and I think you've heard Gay speak about the trial membership. And over the next few years, 9%, 7%, 6%, 2.5% in 2014. Now you see it starting to kick in, right? What we were doing here, you see it starting to kick in. 2015, less than 1%, and finally, in 2016, a gain. Less than 1% gain, but it's going in the right direction. So nothing happens overnight. We didn't lose our members overnight. We're not going to get them all back overnight. But the programs that we put into effect in 2010 have helped us to turn the membership around. So this is how much we have grown in paid members. Boy, and I can't see that chart, so can you see that chart? I need to go back to the iPad. But anyway, I'm going to come up closer here. So you can see here we were at 7,261 paid members. That means members who are giving us money, okay? And you can see here it went down pretty much to 7,115. Do you remember Laura Fender, our membership director? Laura Fender left us right about then. And we were without a membership director through these months. And in June, we hired John Corcoran. I know you've met John Corcoran, right?
Yes.
What a ball of fire he is, and what a godsend and a gift he was to us. Look at what he has done. From there, in August, September, 7,315 to 7,000. Thank you, 364. Okay, so John Corcoran is really doing wonderful, wonderful things for us, as is our membership committee. After 16 years of decline, our membership is growing. So as of December 31st, we had 7,364 paid members, and we had 3,487 e-members. Are you all familiar with the e-membership program? Okay, great.
Yes.
Great, wonderful. Okay, total of almost 11,000, right? As of March 31st, we were at 11,535 members.
These are people that we have their contact information in our database. They have asked for information. Okay? They have either paid for a membership, a trial membership, a full membership, or they have given us their name and email address and asked for further information, in which case they get the fragrant rose. So what does that mean in terms of dollars and cents? That means that we are up from January through March. So the same period of time for this year, we're up about $6,600. So that's a pretty nice gain. We have an 85% renewal rate, and our improved renewal numbers, along with a high conversion rate from trial to full members, is contributing to our upward change. This, along with our strong social media presence and increased e-members, are our key areas of growth over the past year. And this is an example of our e-membership sign-up sheet. So from June of 2016 through December of 16, a total of 317 members have renewed or joined after receiving the fragrant rose. So these programs came into being while I was membership chairperson for ARS. That's what I was doing in 2007 when the dues increase went into effect. And I have to tell you that the dues increase went into effect as a decision of the Finance Committee, and the membership committee was never even asked. So we were not part of that. I was never for that, but it was done. So a little bit later on, we decided there are all these people who you get a renewal notice, but you don't always renew. And you don't always renew because you don't want to be a part of the organization that's sending you the notice. You don't renew because I'll do it later. You know, I don't have the money this month. I'll have it next month. You put it in a pile, it gets buried on your desk, and you forget, right? So out of sight, out of mind. And we thought, if we created an e-membership and sent out a e-newsletter, what would that cost us? Like nothing. But we would be in front of the people. They would see our name, they would see American Rose Society, and they would say, okay, you know, maybe I'll rejoin. So that's how it started. And then in 2015, the executive director, Laura Seba, at that point, she was our membership director. And she went to the Chicago Flower and Garden Show and was trying to get members. But people didn't want to pay. They didn't want to open their wallets or write a check. They just didn't want to give money for this. And you know, even $10, $49, they just didn't want to. And she thought, wow, you know, we have this e-membership. I'm going to get them to sign and give me the name and the email address. And I think she took home like 400 signatures and email addresses. And we have had that kind of success ever since with this program. So it's for both the expired members and people who are still thinking about whether or not they would like to join. And here's the increase in our membership. You can see that it went up by over 1,000 members since we started it. And then there's our 4-month trial membership, right? $10, or join the Houston Rose Society today and become an ARS trial member for free. And that's available to every single person that will join your society. That will give you 2 magazines, a 4-month membership. We'll give you a membership card that will get you free or reduced membership into over 200 botanical gardens throughout the country as part of the reciprocal garden program. And these are some of the things we've been working on in our administration. So we've done a refresh of the magazine. Hopefully you're enjoying the magazine.
Yes.
So I've said this a number of times, and it really is true. Okay, there is a new rose.org coming. We know that the existing website is difficult to navigate. And the good news is that our chairman of the editorial advisory committee, brother, is friends with a person whose name is Al Lucklow, who knows Steve Wozniak, Apple Computers. So Mr. Lucklow designed the Apple website, and he has agreed to design the ARS website pro bono.
Great.
So we're really looking forward to a really great website, and we're hoping that you will see this website by the end of the year. This is our Roses and You Facebook page. How many of you are on Facebook? Excellent. So, you know, you don't have to be on Facebook and post. You can just have a Facebook page, and so you can look to see what everybody else is doing. This is the tool that we use to create a sense of community. So how do you create a sense of community on a national organization? It's hard, right? But social media allows us to do that. We didn't have this
up until a few years ago. So it's a really great tool. This page shows what everybody else is doing. The pictures that I took here tonight will be posted on this by tomorrow. And people will know that I was here and they'll know what you're doing. These are our social media stats. And you can see that we have over 10,000 likes for the ARS Facebook page. We have a Roses and You Facebook page and a number of others. So we have a really, really strong social media presence, and that also helps us. This is our e-newsletter for members. This is edited by Teresa Byington of Rose Chat Podcast. And this is a Fragrant Rose edited by the co-host of it, Chris Van Cleve. We have a new photo contest for middle school and high school students. They do not need to be members of the American Rose Society, but it's a good way to get our kids away from the computers and into the gardens. They don't have to be members, as I said, and there are cash awards that have been donated by ARS members. So we had our first digital American Rose Society photo contest webinar, and that is on YouTube. Those were all the winners of the contest. So in my administration, I was fortunate enough to have 3 landmark occasions, and this was one of them. So this was, we were invited to the National Garden, the U.S. Botanic Garden. It was their 10th anniversary, and it was the 30th anniversary of the rose becoming our national floral emblem. And that happened by declaration of Ronald Reagan. And we were invited there. This lady right here is Mary Johnston. And Mary and another congressman woman, the congressman's wife, do you remember her name, Kay? Okay. They were instrumental in getting this legislation through. We met her. She was delightful. I guess the biggest story behind this is that we are allowed to have a table for ARS membership. And Star Roses and Plants gave us 400 4-inch pots of pink knockout. And I'm telling you, they were lined up to get the rose and to give us their name and their email address. And the really heartening thing was most of them were really young. They were millennials, some of them with little kids, some of them buying their first rose, asking questions like, do I put this in the dirt? Is this going to get those awful black spots and the leaves fall off? Do I need to water it? So there's a lot of opportunity for us to get rose education out. We signed up over 400 members that day. And when we left, we were out of roses and they were still signing up. We have a new booklet for our members. This is available to you at a very small cost. Creating Beautiful Rose Garden. It was done for us by Michael Marriott from David Austin Roses. And we have a new book on ramblers that we have published, self-published. So if you have this book, wonderful. If you don't have this book and you want to order it, please don't order it on Amazon.com. Please order it from CreateSpace. Even though Amazon.com owns CreateSpace, we get a lesser percentage if you buy it from Amazon. So it's a great book. We have it and I love it. So the second really big occasion for us is the 100th edition of the annual. This is a really beautiful book. Gay has it sitting there. We were able to upgrade this book with a really beautiful cover, better paper. It was a dream that I had had for a long time to actually put it into hardcover, but that proved to be way too expensive. And even this was a big cost. And I have to tell you that we were able to do this because of a very generous donation by Will Radler. So we're very grateful to Will, and we're grateful to Jean Waring, who was our editor. And the big news is that we're 125 years old this year, 2017. We are the oldest single plant horticultural society in the United States. We're the largest member country in the World Federation of Roses. So you can be very, very proud to belong to this organization. So we're having a birthday party, and I think you've heard about this, right? Anyone who donates $125 to the annual fund gets one chance in our drawing. This is our birthday drawing. These are some of the gifts that are available, and we have a listing of them on the table over by the books. A lot of wonderful prizes. If you would like to have a rose named after you, that's one of them. If you want to come and be a guest at the Biltmore Rose Trials and be a judge and attend their fabulous, elegant cocktail party and their gorgeous garden and their wonderful awards luncheon the next day, that's a great prize. Or if you'd like a private tour of Will Radler's garden. A number of other prizes were donated as well, so check the listing. So I leave you with, we have created all of this. So when our membership started to tank, I had so many people say to me that we're never going to make it, Pat, we're never going to make it. And when I was running for vice president, I had a really close friend who said to me, you think you're going to make a difference, but you're not. So that was the biggest challenge you could give me. All you need to do is tell me you can't do this. And we have made a difference. We have made a difference, but we've made a difference because of all of you. Because of your support, because of your love of the rose, because of your continued membership in the American Rose Society, we were able to turn this around, and we're just going to go from here to the stars. This is just the beginning. So I ask you, if we can do this, imagine what else we can do. What can you do in your own society? What can we do at a national organization? So thank you for being an ARS member. If you're not a member, I hope after this tonight you will join us. We would love to have you. And we are very glad that you like roses. We like them too. This is a final. We're trying a pilot program where we're putting these stickers on pots of roses at nurseries. And we're going to see if this helps us increase our membership, a little bit more exposure for it. So this is a label. It's a brand new program. We don't know how well it will work, but if it does, we'll be spreading it throughout the country. Thank you very much.